Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Build Your Best Life. I'm Coach Deborah, and I'm always excited to have you here because you could have been anywhere else, but you decided to join us on Build Your Best Life. And I am super excited to have RJ back with us. How are you?
Howdy, I'm doing great. Just glad to be here. Was it new and evolved and more storylines and lessons to tell? So it's always a great time to be on.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you all for joining us today. I see Sean Smith, Dan Smith, Karen Miller. So thank y'all for tuning in. You know, I love it when you all come on and like, share, and comment. And that means that we're getting the messages out to people all over the world. And that is the whole purpose of us being here on a consistent basis, because we want to help people all over the world. So thank you so much. You know, October is almost gone. It'll be Christmas before you know it. So we have a couple more nights of talking about blueprint for well-being, but I love the topic that we're going to have on tonight. But first, we're going to have and I call him RJ, I'm sorry. We're going to have Ricardo Miller Jr. to come back and tell us a little bit about himself and his blueprint for success.
Yes, of course. So, it's great to be back, like I was saying before. As you were saying, everybody calls me RJ, but my full government name would be Ricardo Miller Jr. Son of Ricardo Miller, was the great evangelist and motivational speaker and all those other great things. But whenever it comes into the actual basis of building a good blueprint for my future and building a good blueprint for success specifically, I feel like it kind of comes down to three big factors. And the first factor I feel like is to me one of the most important ones, and the one that's probably going to take the most practice is going to be planning. Planning is the greatest way that I feel like I can kind of get out to attack and was it and just deal with all of the was with all the ways of the world because life is pretty simple at times, but also life can be really complicated. So planning and knowing what's going to be coming up next is super super important. And I feel like it's just was it really really integral to know what your next step is going to be, because how can you know was how can you react, and how can you move on forward if you don't know what's coming up next. So that's just a really really integral part of what I feel like is the key aspect of being able to build a good blueprint for success. So that's what I feel like is gonna be one of the first big points for it. But just like also like generally, was it a little booster for those who don't know yet for was it for the last time I've been gone. You might notice a little bit something different. Was it the hair is gone? I did just finish up basic training over this past summer, so was had to cut off all the super long hair, and just recently moved it back. Was moved into our fraternity house here down at the University of North Texas, and just overall been getting really really into these later years of my 20s. Finished up my time at basic training to go on and join ROTC so I can become an officer by the time I graduate here. Plan to be pursuing my master's here in probably about a year and a half or so. Was at the same school because that's probably going to be in the plan for me doing ROTC. Those are the good things, and plan to end off and cap off my time with my fraternity on a good note as well. Plan to bring my dad around for a little sneak peek, little message to give the guys. So hopefully that'll be a great time as well. But those have been some of my great key updates for my life, and a little sneak peek, a little idea of what those 3 points are going to be coming up for.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. You've been busy, busy, busy.
Yeah.
All right. I see some more people have joined us. Good evening, Deacon Holmes. Hi, it's Andrea Allen Armstrong. Thank you for tuning in. Well, Melissa, that we have so many things that we have to balance nowadays. Zoom meetings, rush hour traffic, assignments, projects, relationships, finances, people, work, societal issues, who to vote for, schools, parents, illnesses, all types of things.
Yeah.
But there is a way to avoid some level of stress because you have all these things going on. And a lot of times it's like they're all going on at one time and it can get stressful. But, some level of stress is inevitable, but having tools for de-stressing is essential to counteract the pull of stress on our lives. So, RJ, have you had a stressful situation recently? What was the problem? And if you can be transparent, tell us about it.
So was it one of the, I feel like a great example for one of my stressful moments that I had recently was just juggling all the events that I had this past weekend. So was it whenever it comes up to was it just both I guess a combination of was it being in a fraternity, and then also was it being a part of a college campus life, and then also dealing with family. Near the end of the month can be a pretty busy time. So near the end of this month, I had my granny's was it my grandparents' 40th anniversary. They were having a big event, big gala, and I was a host for it. So that was one thing that was like pretty integral to my plate, and I had to make sure that I was really locked in for that and really dialed in to make sure my grandparents, they had done a lot of work for me and they had done a lot of great blessings for me in my life, and I wanted to be able to give them the absolute best I had to provide for them. So that was just one thing for it. Then I also had to make sure that I was there to help prepare and set up for the event and break it down. And we needed enough hands and bodies to where I actually needed to call for some extra help. And my car also broke down this weekend. And I also need to get all the way back down here to Denton, about an hour away from from that whole event and gala. So whenever all these different things, I had the anniversary party, the actual hosting of the event, having to make it back down to Denton for a different which fraternity house? It's a IFC fraternity called Phi Kappa Tau. Was you could actually it's that direction. It's that flag right back there, and I have another flag right up there, right next to as my dad just said in comment, my namesake. Got my Bahamian flag right up there, and got my fraternity flag right there. Was like always got to remember my roots, man. But those were the collection events I had on the weekend, and I was really really definitely feeling the pressure earlier in the week on that Wednesday, Thursday, thinking about everything I had to stack up with for the weekend. But what really helped me out for is just kind of verbalizing everything I had to come out with. My mom is a great resource in which I kind of reach out to just go and vent out to, and so a lot of my friends and a lot of my family And so whenever it comes to just whenever I have a lot of things on my plate, I like to just vent and get it out. Because as soon as you start verbalizing it, the things start stacking up down the list. And actually, once you start getting it out, like I was saying before, you got a plan. So once I actually started laying everything out in front of me, I was just like, all right, cool. I got everything laid out on my plate. Let's start being systematic about it. How can I be the best efficient with my time here, with my time there, with my time here? And how can I make the best of the resources that I have here and the resources that I have to be given as well to be able to make sure that I make everybody happy and also maintain my peace. Because that is also very important to make sure that at the end of the day, whenever you're dealing with these stressful situations, you don't have to add anything else to yourself. Was if you're sitting there stressing about your own performance, don't, man. What was it like? I think my dad gave me some of the best advice I've ever gotten whenever it comes into dealing with stressors is the idea and the concept that life will give you your battles. Life will give you plenty of stuff to stress about. So you don't need to add anything else. So whenever you're dealing with a stressful moment, just go ahead and get it all out there. Lay out everything you need to get done, put it to paper, put it to a note, and then move on with the next step. Let's prioritize. Let's systemize. Let's oh man, compartmentalize. There we go. Yep. Was it break it down into digestible pieces? You never eat an elephant. Was it one bite? It's just one bite at a time.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, it sounds like you had a lot, but I like that you use those emotions. We talked about emotions last week, and as you have showed in your example, it's okay to use those emotions. You got it out. It helped you to prioritize and put everything in proportion. I'm not
Yeah.
even trying to say it, RJ. I'm like,
It's a hard word, man. It's a hard word. I had to think about it, the whole word, all the little verbs and all that kind of good stuff.
but you put everything in this bucket and you got it out. Like you said, you got all that stress out and
Yep.
you got a system in place and you were ready to go. So you made it through the weekend. I see you here. You're ready to go. Hey,
Yep.
that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
Yes. And if you just joined us, our topic today is survivor. And we're talking about that de-stressing, things that help you de-stress because there's no way that you can live anywhere in the world and not go through some form of stress. But you don't have to get there and wallow in it. You got to come up with some de-stressors. What do I do to move forward and be positive? Get it done. So now you definitely explain how you went through that situation and your feelings and emotions, and you got it managed, you got it out and everything. But have you been in a situation where you didn't maybe haven't had not matured as much and you weren't able to get through it as easily as you did this situation? It just had you kind of like stunned for a moment.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Was I'm actually going to be able to bring out a little bit of that military experience, if you want to call it. To make training. Was it physically? You know, I'd always believe that. What was it? Physically, I always believed that I was is an athlete. You know, played several sports while during my time in high school. But was whenever I was at actual basic training, there was a plethora of different factors that came into the whole idea and the whole concept of pushing yourself physically and mentally. And I think that one of the biggest ones that I dealt with that really put me in that mental headspace of just like, yo, we got to keep on pushing, we got to keep on pushing, is our last big event, which is called the NIC, which is the Night Infiltration Course. And so was giving you like a little brief overview of it. Was I don't know how many details I can provide to or whatever, but was it what the pretty much whole gist of it is a sand crawl for about 2 football fields length. And you were in full gear. Was it like bulletproof plates, bulletproof vest, helmet, M4 and weapon, elbow pads, knee pads, your boots, all the kind of stuff. Your full fatigues and all that kind of stuff. And so throughout the entirety of basic training, I usually did not encounter many challenges that truly pushed me mentally outside of our big runs, because long distance running ain't my forte. But was outside long distance runs, I was always sitting there, you know, top 10% usually, doing pretty well. But man, whenever I passed those first 50, 60 meters and I looked up and I still see another football field and a half ahead of me, I was just like, whew, we got a ways to go. And the thing that kept me kind of locked in for it, and one thing that I believe that it's a principle that I carried on through, I picked up through actually David Goggins' book, You Can't Hurt Me. well, I think it's can't hurt me. But the principle is kind of having this idea of a cookie jar in your mind, right? And it's a recess. It's a whole like what's it's a treasure trove really of different resources and different moments in which you've conquered previously, in which you've conquered difficult to achieve things before. So like was it whenever I was going down there and doing that giant crawl, I thought back to all those moments during basic training where I thought before, where I was just like, man, bro, like I went from being a college student, enjoying my nights watching, playing video games, watching movies, to like having sand everywhere and having bullets flying over my head and crawling here in the middle of my summer. I'm like, what am I doing right now? But to remember and call everything back to this is the finish line, RJ. We are right there. You have done so much already, and it's time you just got to go a little bit further. So I'm not saying that everybody's going to have gone through basic training. I'm not expecting you to be able to call back on was it your crazy survival moments or whatever, but you have survived before. As the topic and as the subject of this show today, Survivor, you've made it. The fact that you're watching here today, you have made it and you have survived through so many different challenges before. A lot like how I was saying, life will hand you its challenges. Life has handed you plenty of challenges. So you just need to go back and then make it a point to remember those challenges, to remember the pain and the suffering you went through then. Because I guarantee you, at some point, one of those times when you were struggling, you didn't think you were going to make it, but you did. So you're here now, and you need to remember that you can still capture that same principle of you've conquered before and you will and can conquer again. So yeah, go into that cookie jar, man. Was it recall upon those previous victories?
I like that. I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
Like
it's a
that.
good one right there.
Great. Hi, Lakeisha. Thank you for tuning in. Well, there are ways to de-stress. We have breathing techniques. You can do meditations. You can journal. You can, I think you mentioned before how you prioritize everything. You have time management. But being proactive really, really helps a lot. So, do you have like other techniques that you use? Because when you were just talking to us when we first started about all these things that you're doing, you sound about as busy as your dad. So, do you have like techniques that help you? Because I know there are times when you have to get stressed out because you are doing a lot.
Yeah.
Helps you.
What was it? So and just to get clarity for it here, you're asking which strategies help me whenever I am actively dealing with the stress?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So was one of the factors that I feel like helps me actively deal with the stress whenever I'm getting with it there in the moment is just understanding, I guess, like like people are was it people say this a lot around my age in college, right? And it's the phrase, it's not that deep. So is it whenever it comes into saying it's not that deep, it's not that serious, it's not that big in the grand scheme of things. So whenever I'm actively dealing with the stressor in a moment, especially like right now, I feel like I'm going through a lot of I feel like I'm always going through big paradigm shifts and big learning moments, but especially now going into my real moments of adulthood. Sorry about that. It had someone reaching out to me. But while going through and dealing with those moments and striving through previous stressors, one of the things that I feel like is really, really integral to capture and really, really integral to focus on is the fact that it's the fact that in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to be that large. Whether you're missing an assignment or whether you're stressed about you're not going to pass a test in college or whether you're stressed that you're not going to make it to work here on time, you are going to continue to survive. And it's not to say, oh yeah, don't care about those things and just let everything fall to the wayside. But it is to say that mistakes and shortcomings will always happen in life. Everything's not going to work out exactly how you planned it out to. But you sitting here stressing and thinking that your whole world is falling apart because your car won't start, you need to get to work. Your world's not falling apart. It's just that your car won't start, you need to get to work. Call your manager and understand that you need to deal with this at one problem at a time. A car is an individual problem. Getting to work on time is an individual problem. These things so actually, is it now better collecting this here for you. I got a better package to deliver this message for y'all in. So with that being the case, it's kind of coming back to the whole point of what I was saying before in compartmentalizing. Make the issue smaller. Because in the grand scheme of things, the issue that you're facing is most likely not going to actually impact your next 5, 10, 15 years of your life? Whether or not you're going to pass this exam, whether or not you're going to make it to this big event or this big party, or whether you didn't talk to that person that you meant to network with at that event. Sure, was it may not put you on the track that you want to get to, or maybe you might get to there a little bit slower, but also you may not. Was in the grand scheme of things, you have to remember that you have to keep on pushing. That was that shortcomings and missteps and challenges and trials are all a part of the journey. Was you can overcome and you can get through it. It's just a matter of being mindful to was it to understand the grand scheme of things and the grand depth of things. Because once you start understanding compartmentalizing, you can start setting your priorities. And once you set your priorities, you understand what I do need to tackle first and what is going to be that big 5 to 10 year thing. Now, you may sit there and say, oh, yeah, was it? I really need to get to work. I finally got my car started. So, I'll just make the sacrifice and I'll just zoom. I'll speed to work. I'll go like 110, 120. I don't know about that one because now you got pulled over and you went 120 and now it like you got your license suspended because that's way over the safe limit. So now you overly focus the idea of you being late to work was the end of the world. When in all reality, you having a functioning vehicle and just getting to work was the main priority here. So you have to understand and compartmentalize. Man, we're using that word a lot today, right? um, compartmentalize those issues. And then once you do that, prioritize them and then start dealing with it item by item, list by list.
That's good. That's good. Now, and I just love all these responses, this information that you are providing, these nuggets for de-stressing, because it proves the point that, hey, you can overcome obstacles and build your best life because you have, seems like that cookie jar is just really, really running over. And so you're able to reflect back and just keep going, keep moving. And I'm sure all of you out there have stressors. Put something in the comment. Tell us some of the things that you go through or something that you want to mention or any questions that you may have. Put it in the comments because I think this is a great, great subject because what happens a lot of times and one of the reasons why we are seeing so many instances with mental health today is that people don't have an arsenal or a toolbox with de-stressors. And if you have the best marriage, you're a great parent, you're an A student, you are still going to run into stress because of the world that we live in today. We have all types of things going on. So you have to keep going, keep everything moving. So tell us some of the things that you may be going through. And like I said, if you have any questions. So this is really, really good. I love all of these topics that we've had this month about, your well-being, but anything that's tied to your emotions, your stress levels, I think they are really, really helpful. So please make sure that you share this information. So RJ, can you please provide us with some more? You've given us a whole ton of information, but do you have any more tips that you can give to provide keeping stress at a minimum while people are managing the stress that they run into in the world?
Yeah, for sure. I think that one of the big ones that I like to kind of go into, and I think my dad's a big fan of this one too, is just like kind of is always is always looking to is always looking to be progressive. So for me, was it like while I was at work today, right? I was listening to a YouTube video about financial literacy and advice, and then and then an audiobook going over was it like how to be a better creator, how to be a better content creator, how to be a better writer, videographer, all those other different things, right? And so while I was at work and while I was actively making money, I was also learning a skill. And so for me, right, was one of the things that I frequently deal with stress about is me getting to the large end goal, was me making sure that was over this past weekend I had seen one of the most extravagant events in my lifetime. Was a true like life-changing money inside of a room kind of thing. And while I was there in that event, one of the biggest things that I usually stress about pretty often is getting to my big success, was getting to the big successful goal at the end of the road. It's the making sure that I do end up being successful enough man to be able to provide for my family, for my wife, and for my kids in the future. Being able to get to the home that I want to be able to have, being able to not have to worry about financial troubles and just things of those sorts, right? So I feel like that's probably a stressor that a lot of people can relate to, whether you're a 22-year-old college student or whether you're 32, what was on your own in your job now working there for several years, or even if you're high school or just now starting college. I feel like you're probably sitting there wondering about what's my big thing? What am I going to be starting off my career when I get out of high school, or what I major in, or what am I going to be focusing on for whenever I go into college, right? So whenever it comes into actually like learning how to better was how to better deal with that stress and setting aside those different things, make sure you're always progressing towards something. Was it stress? Oftentimes, to me, I believe is a product of knowing that you're approaching or around a situation you feel like you shouldn't be. Was if you're stressed about not passing an exam, it's likely that you feel like you didn't study well enough or you don't understand the concept well enough. And if you feel like you don't understand the concept well enough, it's usually a matter of confidence. And it's so like it's getting back down to find the root. And then once you find that root, you can start actively progressing to figure out how to solve that thing. So for me, like in how I can solve how to get to this grand successive goal, I'm always looking for the next way to improve. I'm always trying to find the next new audiobook. I'm always trying to find the next new YouTube video to watch. I'm always looking for ways to improve myself and in ways that I find personally enjoyable, right? So I'm not going out here to go and add more stress to my plate to say, oh, I had to go and attend several seminars. I need to have this much money to pay for and this, that, whatever. No, man, pump your brakes. What is it? Like coaching out there is so ample, and there's so many free resources. There's ways you can improve and get out of your situation for free. It just takes time and it just takes commitment. So the base concept here of how you can best deal with your stress is you're going to need to have some great prioritization and some great organizational skills. Gonna need those. And if you don't have them, start to work on them. And I will tell you right now, any work is great work, man. Now, whether it's just starting up on a whiteboard just right there, whether it's just pulling at your phone's app and pulling out your notes app on your phone and saying, "Hey, I need to go ahead and get this stuff done for today." Once you start dealing with and actually tackling the things that are coming up ahead of you, stressors are no longer going to seem like that much of an issue anymore. Because like how I was saying before, stress and anxiety especially, right? These two big things are usually big fears of the unknown, big fears of things outside of our control. So I'm trying to give you ideas and trying to give you great ways and concepts to take things into your control. Because I completely understand it, man. Like there's tons of stuff in life that is very difficult to have a good grasp of. It's hard to keep our health in good faith, and hard to keep our faith in good faith, and hard to keep our finances in order. But like my dad just said and commented there, confidence does indeed help to remove stress. Once you feel more confident in an area, once you feel more confident in the area, you will feel more prepared to be able to go in and tackle it. And I'll tell you from my own firsthand, the amount of times that I've felt nervous to go up and speak have been numerous, countless even, right? But the fact that I've spoken so many times now, the fact that I've gone out to go and find and look for new ways and opportunities to improve my ability to speak, it helps it out. Now I can be tossed on the stage, I can be tossed in a room, I can be tossed in an environment to where I need to go and speak eloquently and confidently about any kind of subject, and I can, muscle my way out of it because we've overcame and we've done this before, right? Go ahead and practice those skills. Go ahead and check out the audiobook. Go ahead and check out that YouTube video. Work on that new skill you want to build on. And if it's not a new skill, invest in the skill you already have on. Don't add more to your plate than you already have to deal with. Find your big things that you need to focus on and start digging into them. Stress isn't going to leave if you keep on ignoring it. So those would be some of my large big points that I list off. I know I gave a lot of information there.
Oh no, not at all. Not. I mean, that was very good. Never can get too much information because people need to just be like sponges and absorb it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are very good. Look to be progressive. You need to have great organization and prioritization skills, and then the confidence. You need to be confident, and like you said, getting out there, practicing, speaking as often as you can. The more you speak, the more confidence you get. So
Yep.
I believe in being a lifelong learner. So all those things are very helpful. And
Well,
yeah, so you gave us some great nuggets to chew on. This has been a great message on being a survivor. So please make sure everyone that you share. I was looking for a little bit of some comments here on other things that y'all could think of, but I know a lot of people may be traveling in transit, but this is great. So as we close, do you have any closing thoughts that you want to give, RJ? This has been great.
Yes. So was I did just now think of it actually because me and my couple of my fraternity brothers are actually going to go and do this after we finish up all the meetings for the day. Was it get in nature, man? Definitely go out and get in nature. Was my dad is a huge believer of it too. He likes to go and swim and does a little good bit of lawn work and things of that nature. But get out in nature. Was it two more big points that I want to leave off with whenever it comes to great stress relievers is get out there in nature, man. Take some deep breaths. Get surrounded by God's amazing creations and just embrace it. And then was the second one would be to just do something small. Start off with something small and move on from there. I feel like was one of the things that I always go to was it whether it be any point in time of the week is I'll go in to clean my room, right? Was it there's always going to be some small part of a house where you live with 14 other guys with that needs to be cleaned. So was it going out to find something to just something small, something progressive to know that you are actively working to do better in your life. It does something for the soul, man. I truly do believe that's something that can help start you off with some good momentum to start pushing you into the right direction. Was my dad had told me this all the time as a kid, which I didn't really listen to much. I didn't really understand much, I guess, either until I got older. Is starting off every day, was it making your bed? It's the small victories. It's the small things that start you off rolling your momentum throughout the day to be able to go on and succeed and achieve great things. Was it although you may not think that was your room with a couple of cups and a couple of plates and all these other different things are going to change your success or change your stress throughout your life. But I promise you, if you get up out of that bed, you open up those blinds, let some sun in, pick up those cups, start washing these cups and everything like that. Look back in your room, taking a deep breath, feel that sun on your face, and look at your room now being cleaner. And I'll be hard pressed to believe that you won't feel better after that. If you don't feel better, come and call me. Actually, we need to have a conversation because something's going on from there. But seriously, I believe that your personal space around you is a great representation of what's going on up here. So if you go ahead and work to declutter your space and work to declutter whether it be your yard, whether it be your room, actually whether it be the neutral living space that you share among some other friends or some other roommates, go out and do something small and progressive to help declutter your physical space, which will help declutter your mental space. So get out there in nature and clean up, man. Those are my last two big points.
I love it. Declutter, declutter, declutter.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, it's funny. It's something about making that bed. I don't know. I just can't. I just can't. I have to make that bed.
Hey, I get it.
I love it. So thank you for all those tips. Thank you everyone for listening. Thursday, we're going to have Thursday Live, and our topic is going to be friend or foe. Friend or foe, and that is the last broadcast we have on Blueprint for Wellbeing. So you want to tune in. And I am I guess y'all say she's always super excited, but I am. I love what I do, and so I'm always super excited. But hey, check this out. Check this out.
Build Your Best Life, Incorporated, with Coach Deborah, invites you to attend our 2024 Grateful Conference, Monday, November 11th through Thursday, November 14th. This year's theme is Blueprint to Show Gratefulness. Nightly presenters are Monday, November 11th, William Manimi. Tuesday, November 12th, Evangelist Catherine Trotter. Wednesday, November 13th, Jocelyn Charles. Thursday, November 14th, Coach Ricardo Miller. These leaders are professionals from all walks of life. They will enlighten everyone on their words of blessings and gratitude. Please join us nightly Monday, November 11th through Thursday, November 14th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can view these motivating and captivating messages live on the Build Your Best Life Facebook page and YouTube channel. Please mark your calendars to ensure you don't miss these powerful messages and reflect on what you are grateful for. This time of highlighting service, giving back, survival, and appreciating even the little things will bring hope and love to all. You don't want to miss this year's Grateful Conference, Blueprint to Show Gratefulness. In addition, Build Your Best Life looks forward to blessing a young man and a single mother who is raising a son during this event. Visit our website at www.buildyourbestlife.org for more information. Or send your tax-deductible gift to PayPal. Me, BYBLWDDS30.
Yes, I am excited. Please put it on your calendars. It begins on Monday, the 11th of November, and runs through that Thursday, the 14th. I guarantee you, you will not be, you won't regret tuning in, because it is going to be awesome. So please, please, please. And remember, this year we are declaring Jeremiah 29:11 over your lives, because God wants all of us to have prosperity and the future that we hope for. So please write your blueprints for success based on the plans that God has for you. You have to put in the work now. And then build your best life. And remember, building your best life is our business. That's not a slogan, it's our commitment. I love you. Be blessed. Stay safe. Thank you so much, RJ, for coming. I know you are super, super busy, so I really, really appreciate you taking the time out to come and share with everyone.
Of course, of course. Anytime as communications major, I love the opportunity to talk. But in all seriousness, I always do really appreciate the opportunity here. It's been amazing every single time. It's always a good time to be able to get into some really thought-provoking conversation, man. I'm really glad that you guys came to tune in. I hope you all got some great information from it, and look forward to seeing you next time.
All right. Bye. Good night, everyone. See you Thursday.